Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joanne Johnson, and with us today is Topo Padilla, who will be talking about Crime Victims United and what they do for victims of crime. We will also be joined by Mike, who will be talking about the All-American Rib Cook-Off, which is to happen next week, August 24th.
Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast, presented to you by Sac Life TV. Here's your host, Pastor Robert Jones.
With me today is Topo Padilla, and he is a Crime Victims United
executive board member, volunteer.
So you say it different than executive board member.
Yeah.
So tell me what you do. What is it about? What does the organization actually do, the Crime Victims United?
Well, Crime Victims United, just like a lot of organizations are started, and it was started through a tragedy. Back in 1979, Katina Salerno was murdered in the Bay Area, and her parents, Mike and Harriet Salerno, looked for help, looked for support, looked for answers, and wanted to do something. And not only in her memory, but as they were going through this process, support from victims. And they looked around and couldn't find much of any. That was the birth of Crime Victims United, which is an organization that looks to help and support victims and give them answers, emotional support. Just like with a lot of groups that are formed, when you bring victims of crime together, they can help and support each other, just like people with substance abuse issues or ministry issues, not issues, but ministries. We come together. And so that's what Crime Victims United is. And one of our big thing is to look to educate lawmakers. When I go to the Capitol a little bit later, hopefully we can talk about that. You go down there and you look at bills, victims are very seldom spoken about.
So how long has Crime Victims United been around?
Well, again, it started in 1979, formalizing and coming to be an entity. We've gone through some growth. And then when this whole evolution of victims being redefined, the people that are maybe arrested or charged with a crime are a victim of, our laws, and they're a victim of society, and they're a victim. And I truly mean that. I could talk to you for a long time about that. They've redefined victims, and unfortunately, Crime Victims United started taking a slide because who wants to support? A lot of people don't want to do something until it happens to them and affects them. And for me, my parents raised me have empathy, and you don't have to get your hand smashed in the door to know that it hurts.
Right. Yeah. So is this a nonprofit? Are they a nonprofit entity? Okay, so like a 501c3?
Yep, 501c3. Okay. And then we do have another part of our organization that does legislative work. And again, these legislators, they get voted in, as I was saying a little bit earlier in conversation, too many voters are one-topic voters. He supports this or she supports that, and I'm going to vote for them. And they don't look at the overall makeup of these legislators. And then these legislators go down there and vote with no accountability. Yeah. We often talk about that word accountability, you and I do. They have no accountability. Who watches down there when they're having hearings and all that? And they give you 2 minutes to speak. Yeah. They just want you out of their face as quick as they can.
Oh, yeah.
And we work to change that.
Topo, you said that the Crime Victims United provides resources. Are you talking about like counseling resources? Or maybe walking the victims through the legal processes, or what does that look like exactly?
Yeah, our thing about crime victims is, nobody expects to be a crime victim. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in this situation. And, we have attorneys on our part of our organization, and then we have other crime victims who've been through it. And we can give them the empathy and the guidance to guide themselves or their families through the process. And I again, been involved, this isn't about me, been involved with Crime Victims United before being a victim of crime. And then I had a very dear friend, Kathy Lynch, who was in fact did a lot of work for Crime Victims United. She was a legislative advocate, and she was murdered along with her very, very long-time boyfriend. And her family came to us and, asked me and helped me, well, you need help with this. Heck, I needed help. I needed that support. And because I found myself with my friend being murdered as a crime victim. And so, yeah, that's what we do. And it's very rewarding to help people in their time of need.
So now, do you get any grants or government funding?
Well, we used to have a significant amount of funding that came in from different organizations. One of them was involved, I just won't identify them, but
Sure.
they were involved in the criminal justice system, and they used to be a majority of our funding.
Okay.
But due to the fact that, many of the people that we support in this political world happen to be on one with one party, and we didn't support, specifically the last few governors. We didn't support that governors because they signed a lot of bills that were not in support of victims. They vetoed bills that were in support of victims. And this group turned around and goes, gosh, we got to buddy up to the governor and be friendly to the governor so that he'll give us our budget money. And so they ceased our funding. And it's, it doesn't matter who they are, a pretty darn big union/association in California. So we've lost most of our funding. The only way we fundraise now is through having events and hope and pray that people will come out and understand what we are and support us. That's the only way we're making money now.
Yeah. So how many do you guys have, like, stats? Like, how many people you guys? Is it nationwide? Is it more regionally? Is it what do you guys operate?
All the work we do is in California. However, our past president, Nina Salarno, who is now the district attorney of Modoc County, she has traveled all over the country helping other states either get victims groups going or going and supporting them. And I myself have testified in other states on other bills. So, we're not afraid to go around this country helping victims of crime, and specifically in places where they don't have crime victims groups.
Have you seen an uptick in the people needing your help?
Yes, unfortunately, I always say this, and sometimes people, they look at me like, "What, are you crazy?" This was given to me by Bill Bean Sr. Bill Bean, I unfortunately had to meet him due to the murder of his son, who was a Sacramento police officer, and I knew his son, Bill Bean Jr. Knew him, worked with him, out there chasing fugitives and doing our job. And he was murdered, and his dad and his family became a family of a victim of crime. They got involved with Crime Victims United. And I always say, I'm just sorry when I have to meet these people. I'm sorry that I ever had to meet Mike and Harriet Salarno because of their murder of their daughter. And you say that and people are like, what? But you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to meet somebody through tragedy, but we do. And I've backed away from a lot of the boards I'm on, but this is one I won't walk away from.
So what do you attribute the increase to? What would you say that would be?
In California, it's really evident. Back 15 years ago, we did a lot more proactive work in other arenas, but I will attribute it to Proposition 47, and I know we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
When you change laws to change a number, like, in other words, they wanted to change the number of people in our state prisons. So they lessened the severity of crimes, which sent fewer people to state prisons. Well, that's a way to get that number cooked in the direction you want to get it cooked in.
Yeah.
But the victims in this is, yes, there's a lot of singular victims, people that are directly affected by it, but our state has been affected by it. We are all victims. Just today, I was at Home Depot and I was talking to the store manager about the thefts in their store. And you think, well, so what? Home Depot's got a lot of money. But people don't understand when Home Depot gets ripped off, or any of these stores, these retail stores, whether it's Target or Ace Hardware or whatever, that's money they lose, and then they have to increase prices. And just because somebody has to pay more for get a dozen eggs or a gallon of milk, are they a victim? Well, not the way a stabbing victim is, or a rape victim. But again, yes, we are. We're victims of our society. So the uptick has been, in fact, because of the laws in California being changed. This experiment has failed. What people have to do is just admit, hey, we were wrong. It's not working. It's hurting the entire state. People are leaving in mass exodus, going to other states that are tough on crime. And so That's why I attribute to.
So why do you think that we're so soft on crime? What do you think? What do you attribute that to?
I think that, again, they wanted to change the numbers because of, the overcrowding, and they say that we have the most people imprisoned in the country, and then they say the United States has the most people imprisoned. Look, as a crime victims advocate, I'm going to tell you, I don't want to just send people to prison and box them up and put them in a box and have them spend 23 hours of their day there. That is not what I want. What we want to see is corrective behavior. And truly, as a crime victim, I will tell you that there are some people that commit crimes. Those people never need to walk amongst the free again. Okay, and I believe that. But sending people to prison and not working to correct their behavior is a failure. That's number one. So we have these overcrowded prisons. So let's change those numbers to where we don't have those overcrowded prisons. Let's change the laws. So if we want to have fewer strikeouts in baseball, I know a super simple solution. Make it 5 strikes instead of 3. And then we'll have fewer strikeouts. And but in this instance, it's not funny. It's not a joke. It's a serious thing. Right down here in Land Park, in the last 3 weeks, there's been a rash of people with complete irrational behavior. I'm talking that they're not all there. They're on some sort of a drug that is causing them to try and get into people's houses. I mean, walk up in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock in the morning. On this one house, some friends of mine tried every door, and it's all on video. And that person walked away from the house. The police caught up with him. They let him go. There's nothing they could do. Not because the cops are lazy, not because the cops don't want to do anything or the DA is, but because in this game of life in California and throughout this country, our legislators make up the rules of the game. And they've made it to where these police officers have no rule that they can, pull out and say, you violated this one, therefore you're going to go to jail. And, is going to jail the answer? Well, holding somebody accountable, getting them off the street for a little bit, putting them on timeout in the Sacramento County Jail or any jail might be the answer. Maybe they won't do it again.
Yeah.
But that's one of the big problems we're facing here in this region.
That was handed down with the feds, right? Reducing the numbers.
Yes. But if you look at the costs to run our prisons in California, it's obnoxious. I would be okay with that if our prisons were set up to help people and rehabilitate them and reform them. I would be all for that. We would be all for that as victims of crime.
Yep.
Yeah, we'd be super supportive of it. But they said, these prisons are costing too much money, and there's too many minorities in our prisons and all this and that. And, again, they changed the numbers. And look, I'm a minority, and I don't like the fact that there is. But until we're ready to go out here and make change and help people in these minority communities to where they're not in jail, they're not in prison. That's what I want to do. But our prisons aren't made up that way. They're made up to cage people.
All right, we're going to be right back. We're going to keep talking about Crime Victims United. Why is there even a need for this in the first place? And could it be reduced? Could we do something so great in society that we would not need Crime Victims United? We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We would like to thank Mosley Collins for sponsoring Powerhouse Podcast. And if you are in need of any legal help, please dial 916-444-4444. All fours for legal help. Thank you, Mosley, for your support.
Sac Live TV is proud to sponsor the Powerhouse Podcast with Pastor Robert Jones. If you'd like to be a sponsor, please contact us at info@saclife.tv.
Are you looking for substance in your podcasts? Look no further. Introducing the Powerhouse Podcast. Join us every week as we delve into politics, religion, entertainment, and education. Don't miss out. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform and be part of the Powerhouse Podcast community. For more information, visit our website, powerhousepodcast.net.
Hello and welcome back to Powerhouse Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Jones. I'm here today with Topo Padilla. And we're talking about Crime Victims United. And you were telling us about it, and we went into why is it necessary and why is there an uptick? And I think after kicking the tires, we just figured out that being soft on crime makes it a crime-friendly environment. Now, what, here's the thing that I've noticed, I'm not saying what I noticed is accurate. It's just my observation. But you being in this, maybe you can speak into it. It seems almost like we're afraid to say this is wrong and there's going to be serious penalty for it. We're going to take you off the streets, and regardless of your race, religion, or anything else, or sex, it's not okay. There's no excuse for it, right?
Right.
I see a lot in court cases. They'll get up there and they'll give all these reasons why they did what they did. Well, they did what they did because they chose to do what they did. I grew up as poor. I was so poor I couldn't pay attention. Okay. I was poor, but I had a choice to go either shovel horse manure for $1 an hour, 12 hours a day during hot summer months in Texas, or go steal. And I went and worked. Was that enough to live on? No, bro. I ate government cheese. I drank the powdered milk. I took what they gave me, but then I went and worked. And I'm talking about as a 14-year-old kid, I did this, and that really formed me as an adult to not make excuses. But when you see this soft on crime, do you think it spawns crime, or do you think what do you think is the ultimate goal? Do you think it's strictly political? Do you think it's strictly political, like they're just doing it so they can get a vote? Or do you think that is there an underlying reason that you know of or you've experienced?
Well, I think empathy. You have a whole segment of our society that has empathy for human beings. I have great empathy for human beings. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways I carry out my empathy is helping people that are doing wrong create change in their life. Okay. And that's one of the things at Crime Victims United. You wouldn't believe that Crime Victims United is a big supporter and has been for over 25 years of the bail bond profession. And that's how I got involved. And I'm like, when I go around this country talking about Crime Victims United, and I tell the story about the bail bond profession and Crime Victims United being aligned, people are like, "What? Are you kidding? How can that be?" Well, because the greatest way to give a victim of crime justice is to have the person held accountable if they in fact committed the crime.
Sure.
The greatest way to ensure that they're going to be in court is if there's some accountability and in that have some skin in the game. And so it's one of those things. That's how Crime Victims United feels. We want people to change. Mm-hmm. And I will say it and I will beat it. We would rather not exist, but we have to, especially in California. And in California, unfortunately, we've been put in the back of the auditorium. And just the other day, I was testifying on a bill at the state capitol in the Public Safety Committee hearing, and I got ready to speak on a bill that would have made it much better for people who commit crimes. It would have really and truly, it was a bill that was going to turn around and say, you have to have a hearing every 60 days for these people, that they're in custody, every 60 days to address their incarceration. Well, we already have that. But this bill said, and if you don't do it, they get let free. Uh-huh. And I got up to speak to address that bill and was given 15 seconds on behalf of victims of crime. And I made it known to the chair and to that committee, how gross is this? And I looked at that, committee room full of people. I said, how gross is this, that victims of crime get put to the back again? And you don't want to hear it. 15 seconds is what I was given. And yes, I know you have your precious little 4 minutes pro or against a bill. Mm-hmm. But there's some things that need to be talked about. And when you go into those hearings at this Capitol, and it's one of the things we do at Crime Victims United, is to try and educate voters on the process, and then at the same time try and educate legislators on the process. But you go down there, 4 minutes. Some things need to be discussed longer than just 4 minutes. What they ought to do in the state of California is cut down on the number of bills these legislators can put forth in their 2-year term. That's what they ought to do. Give them more time to work on real content-rich, things that are good for the state, they're good for our country.
Yeah.
But these legislators, if you knew the number of bills that they can propose in their turn, you'd go, what? And you can go talk to these legislators. Sorry to keep going, but you can go talk to them. Say, hey, you know that bill you got, SB 271? Hey, which one is that? And in a way, I am slamming some legislators, but in a way, I'm not. But because they're like, what bill is that? It's your bill. Oh, okay, yeah. They don't know a lot. And again, that's because they have too many things going on, because they don't want to be seen as a legislator that's not doing anything. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put all these bills out, change all these laws. Our law books, the penal code used to be that thick. The thing is that thick now. And I swear to you, a lot of it, the changes have to do with the lessening of our crimes, the seriousness of our crimes, and to the benefit to those that have committed the crimes.
Well, I mean, I know I've talked to Sheriff Cooper about this, and he is so frustrated because he's trying to he's just trying to protect his community, and they can't even do that, through laws. So, I mean, I could see how, I mean, your organization of Crime Victims United, I would see how it would, I mean, literally, I would think you guys have more than you could say grace over as far as that is concerned. Now, when we're talking about Crime Victims United, is it all crime, any kind of crime that someone suffers from, or is it a specific type of crime, or expand on that if you would?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, if somebody gets their car stolen, or their house burglarized, I mean, but house burglaries are traumatic.
Oh, dude.
The violation you feel, and the violation you will feel, so long as you live in that house, will carry on. That is a significant crime.
I've experienced that myself.
Yes.
And I felt so like someone broke in my home, and they, I wouldn't suggest you break in my home. I'm just saying, don't do it now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and so obviously, one of the things that we deal with the most is murder and rape. And
how many do you deal with? I mean, what's your case?
it varies from year to year. Fortunately and unfortunately, it's because not a lot of people know about us.
That's right.
They used to know
I
about
didn't
us.
know about you.
Oh, a lot of people used to know about us. We would have our annual dinner for Crime Victims United. Legislators, the day we opened up registration, would flock to get a reservation because we would sell out. The governors used to come to every one of our annual dinners. Now, if we get 13 or 14 legislators at our dinner, we're lucky, because they know we don't really need to support them. Before, Harriet Salerno would call the governor, back when Jerry Brown served his first term back in the 80s and all, and there, Harriet would call him, and he would pick up the phone personally. Yes, Harriet, and what do you need? And yes, ma'am. And several governors thereafter, Governor Wilson, those people, they knew Harriet. And I say this humbly, they feared Harriet, because Harriet could affect change. She could affect whether they were going to be reelected again. She could do that. And then her daughter soon, took over thereafter, and she was a feared individual too. In fact, Crime Victims United and Nina Salerno were a huge part of Marcy's Law, and laws like that. And so we've made those changes. So, kind of lost track on where we were going there, but the fact is that making change is what we need to do. Crime Victims United, we appreciate you giving us this opportunity to come on here and talk about it, because not too many people don't, because they really don't care. And I say that, and I'll say that directly to most of those legislators down there, a majority of them. They could care less, because until they become a victim of crime, they don't care. And that's a fact. And I hate to say this, but many of the legislators down there on this one party, this isn't about Republicans and Democrats, Libertarians, or anything like that. Quite a few of them have slid over, and I'm going to now say it, become moderate Democrats. And you talked about Sheriff Cooper. When he was in the assembly, he was the chair of the moderate caucus. And I've met some of those legislators, and many of them were victims of crime. And it's part of the reason that they became legislators. They wanted to go affect change.
I wish they wouldn't call it moderate. I wish they'd call it common sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times people say moderate and they think of, oh, well, he's more conservative and progressive. Oh, they're more. No, no, no. How about common sense? Because that's really what being moderate is. It's common sense. It's not, it's no matter where you are on the aisle, left or right or in between, moderate means, hey, I'm going to use common sense. And that may be a little of your idea and a little bit of my idea, but we're going to come up with an idea.
Yeah.
Now we're so far split, you know.
One of my favorite legislators down there, sorry to interrupt.
No.
It was Assemblyman Ken Cooley. I watched this man in several hearings
Yeah.
turn around and these bills go in these committee hearings, and there's a committee chair in the state of California for I don't know how many years, over a decade now. It's been controlled by the Democrats. So Democrat chairs on all the committees.
Sure.
And you generally vote the way the chair sees it. I watched that man time after time after time go, nope, nope, and nope, because he didn't vote for his party. He voted for what was right. And there are more and more of those. So those legislators, and now you'll see, look at our national level when you get these people in Congress that say, hey, I want to do what's best for the American people. Were you a Democrat or Republican? I'm for the American people. That's what I am. And so you're right.
I wish we could go back to that. Joanne, what you got?
Yeah, I had a question about your preventive work that you do. You go to the legislature and you go to voters, and it also says that you do preventive work with youth. And so I wanted to know what that looks like and then how you also bring it to the community.
Well, bringing what we do to the community and the outreach that we do it's tough, especially in these days and age. We tried a podcast. We tried to get out there and do it, and we just found that there's not an audience until you become the victim, and then you've got this finite group of people you're trying to educate, and really and truly, these folks I was talking about down in Southland Park, I want to go educate them and say, folks, I know I know where you sit politically, but it's coming to you. It's on your front door now, and now you want to see change. Well, you should have thought about that before you became a victim, and now, okay, put that aside. Let's go affect change. And I'm not saying we gotta, especially in these city councils, that we gotta turn around and elect all people from this one political party, because city councils, sheriffs, and DAs, there's no race in that.
I would like to get rid of political parties. Dude, I'm serious. I would like to get rid of political parties and people start running on their ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because so many people, I've talked to people and they go, well, I've been an X for so many years and my family vote that way. And I'm like, well, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? You vote based on ideas and philosophies and theories. You don't vote on that, So that really troubles me that we get so entrenched in I'm registered one way, but I've actually voted other ways because I don't agree with the way they are. So I'm not, and that's the thing is we get so, focused on one party and we voted even if they're wrong. And that's a whole nother subject.
Well, if I can answer that in 30 seconds, that comes down to caucuses, that comes down to the parties, that comes down to our leaders, our Senate Pro Tem, and the Assembly leaders. They're in charge. And they're in charge of you as a legislator on whether you'll be reelected next time. Because if you don't toe the line, they will fund somebody else to run against you. I have very good friends of mine that have been in the legislature and have been ran out of there because they did just what you said. They voted for the people instead of the party.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'll be 102, and I'm going to make a lot of people mad right now, but I really don't care. The reason I liked Trump in the beginning was because he wasn't a politician. When Mitt Romney ran, he was a businessman. When Mitt Romney ran, years ago, who did he run against? Who was that? I forgot. It was a long time ago. But when he ran, he was a businessman. He was not a politician. And so I was like, all right, I want that dude because he's been successful in business. I would love if we threw away all the politicians and just got businessmen to run the country. We'd be way better off.
He ran against President Obama.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's because I had a bet, and I lost the bet, of course, and so I had to wear a shirt.
Well, Crime Victims United is involved in the community. They're doing some great things.
Yes.
And you guys got some events coming up, right?
Yes.
So we're going to hold on to that. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about what's coming up. And I got news for you. You're going to love it. All right, stay tuned. We would like to thank Mosley Collins for sponsoring Powerhouse Podcast. And if you are in need of any legal help, please dial 916-444-4444. All fours for legal help. Thank you, Mosley, for your support.
Sac Live TV is proud to sponsor the Powerhouse Podcast with Pastor Robert Jones. If you'd like to be a sponsor, please contact us at info@saclife.tv.
Are you looking for substance in your podcasts? Look no further. Introducing the Powerhouse Podcast. Join us every week as we delve into politics, religion, entertainment, and education. Don't miss out. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform and be part of the Powerhouse Podcast community. For more information, visit our website, powerhousepodcast.net.
Hello and welcome back to Powerhouse Podcast. I am your host, Robert Jones, and we are here talking to Topo Padilla, and we have a new guest on the set, Mike. Hi, Mike. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So, Mike, we put you in here because we're getting ready to talk about some things that Crime Victims United are going to do to help raise funds so that we can actually help victims. We talked about, there's some counseling and legal services and things of that nature that Crime Victims United help with. So tell us a little bit about your part of what you're playing in this role.
Yeah, so I'm involved with a little bit of the coordination and overall production of the event, as far as tear down and marketing and volunteer coordination and that kind of thing.
So what is the name of the event?
The All-American Rib Cook-Off. So it's going to be our 7th annual fundraiser, and much of the proceeds will be going to help fund Crime Victims United.
Awesome. So are they the sole beneficiary, or are there other organizations that are also blessed by this event?
Yeah, so there is a couple other charities. I know William Jessup University, some proceeds go to that, as well as the Park District and some of those programs to help youth and stuff like that in the community.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. And where does this take place?
Recreation Park. It's a beautiful park in Auburn, California.
Okay, Recreation Park. Okay, I've never been there, but
I'm sorry. It used to be at Recreation Park. It's actually at Regional Park now. Last year was our first year at Regional Park.
Okay, where is that? Where's Regional Park?
It's in Auburn, California.
Still in Auburn?
As well. Yeah.
All right, so maybe a little cooler than down here in the valley, huh? Usually they're just a little bit cooler.
Yeah, at least a few degrees.
So who can enter this?
So we have about 20 competitors right now that are all competing.
Okay.
But
Are you still signing up, or is it capped? Or is that it?
I believe it's capped at this point because it's coming up pretty quickly.
All right. So you got 20 different like rib recipes, if you will.
Yes. Different sauces, flavors, different ways that they smoke them.
Man, that sounds good.
So how do we sample these ribs?
Yeah, amen, Joanne.
Yeah. So that's a great question. Admission to the event is free, but rib tasting kits are $29.99, and you get 6 different tasting tickets, so you can kind of pick and choose whose ribs you want to try.
All right, say that again for those that were slow and weren't paying attention because they were milling around the house. Say that again. How much is it?
It's $29.99.
Okay.
And you get 6 rib tasting tickets, and you can kind of just pick and choose with whoever you'd like to try a rib from.
So look, Mike, you can look. That the camera adds 10 pounds, but I think that's a lie. I think it adds more like 30. So I'm a big fella, right? How much is a rib tasting? Because come on, man. For me, a tasting is like 3 ribs. So what is a rib tasting? Tell me how many ribs I'm going to get.
It's 6 ribs.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. There you go. So it's like a half a slab.
Yeah. And we also have family 4-packs where you get 2 rib tasting tickets and 2 kids meals, and that's $75.
Oh, that's reasonable. Yeah. That's very reasonable. You get sides with that?
I'd have to look at the details.
Working for you guys. I am working hard. You see what I'm doing for you guys? I am trying to work a deal for you. All right? I'm looking for some cornbread, greens, and baked beans out of the deal. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So you got ribs. And I guess there's things to drink out there.
Yeah. There's going to be a full bar, beer and wine, as well as about 25 different vendors, like for crafts and other handmade goods.
Very cool. And how long does this event go for? I mean,
it goes about 5 hours. The VIP tastings begin at well, admission begins at 10:30, and then the tastings begin at 11. The general attendees, it'll be an hour later, so they'll be getting admission at 11:30, and then their tastings begin at noon, and it goes till about 4 o'clock.
So you're saying the VIPs get in first and start eating first?
Yeah.
So how do you be a VIP, my brother?
Well, you can visit allamericanribcookoff.com.
Okay. Yeah, say that slower.
allamericanribcookoff.com.
Did you make a note of that, Joanne? Make a note of that.
There's VIP tables, so if you want to, host a business group.
Oh, really?
Or things like that, yeah.
So how much is a table like if you did a whole table?
I'd have to go and look.
It's all right. It's all right. We can go to
Exact price.
allamericanribcookoff.com
Yes.
and find out, right?
Yep. And we're also going to have two live bands that are going to be playing throughout the entire event. We have a pretty good kid zone with jump houses, slides. There's an obstacle course.
Cool.
There's also a playground there. And yeah, so since admission's free, it's just a great event, family-friendly event, and there's really not a reason to not attend,
What kind of bands are they?
They do a lot of classic rock and country.
Classic rock and country. All right, good. All right. Cool. What bands are they? Do you know? You know the names of them by chance? I'm just putting you on the spot, bro.
Yeah. I know we're actually still deciding on the second band, and the name of the first band is escaping me right
Don't worry, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
And guess what? Sac Life TV will be there filming, so
Oh,
look out for them.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Yes.
And Ashley. Come here, Ashley. Come on, right here. Come on. I don't care. Come on, we're gonna just do this. Come on. Give me this. This is Ashley. She is Sac Life. Come on. She is Sac Life TV's new face. And it's way better than mine, right? So she's going to be there. So look for her. She's going to interview you.
Eat some ribs.
Eat some ribs. All right. Cool.
I'm getting a family 4-pack for myself.
Amen, girl. All right. So very cool. Very, very, very cool. And so now, what do you play in this other than buying my ticket there?
Well, Crime Victims United is the organization that started this. Nina Salarno, who works about 22 hours a day, had this brain thought of, hey, as one of our fundraisers, as I talked about earlier, when our funding got cut back, this is one of the fundraisers we do. We've got involved in it, and again, as I said, we wanted to spread the proceeds out, and there's like Mike said, there's several youth organizations that benefit from it, and so it's a great event for the families. I've been involved with it since the beginning. How I got involved with it, and Nina called me on a Tuesday and said there's a rib cook-off on a Saturday, and I threw a team together, and then she said, oh, and by the way, you're cooking 72 racks of ribs. So I fortunately have a good friend at Amy Hardware who lent me a smoker, a Traeger smoker that'll do 72 racks. And not bragging, but I got first place the first year. Got first place, and I don't know how we did it, but we did. But it just goes to show you, the best part of that was we looked around and went to all these other stations. They had trophies and pins and flags from all over the country. These people were very serious. So even, a beginner like us, one of my friends, Ron, said it was a popularity contest. Wrong. It was a customer service contest, and we had good ribs. We took great care of them. You start cooking. The cool thing about it, Mike didn't, you start cooking at midnight. You cannot cook at 11:30 the night before midnight.
I bet those bad boys fall off the bone.
That's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's how I got involved with it, and it is a great time, a great event. There's many things that go on that day. So, and it's up in Auburn. It's nice and cool, cooler.
Yeah, cooler.
Lots of shade. So one of the things also I want to mention, and not stealing your thunder, is that this is a sanctioned event by the Kansas City Rib Association. So
Wait, Kansas City, they have a Kansas City Rib Association?
Yeah, we fly in like official judges from Kansas City.
Shut the front door. That's really cool. It's not just a cook-off and, hey, we're going to have some ribs. It's like official with official judges and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. So is it possible to sponsor a table or be a sponsor of the event?
absolutely. I mean, just speaking on behalf of Crime Victims United, the more businesses and organizations we can get involved, the more charities we can help. So absolutely, and Mike can talk about how to get involved and what that entails.
All right. So is this still open for sponsorship or is it getting too late for that?
I believe it is, and I think that there's information for that on the website as well.
All right. We're going to be posting the website here on the lower portion of the screen, so you guys check that out. Hey, if you're a business and you say, hey, I'd like to be a part of it. I believe in what's going on. I want to support victims. Then hey, get connected. Be a sponsor. Come out, bring your families, and spread the word. We're going to be advertising it, and I'm going to do my part. You know, I believe in you so much, Topo. I'm going to sacrifice myself time, and I'm going to be there for you and for the Victims United.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to tell you this.
And I'm going to eat a bunch of ribs when I'm there too, bro.
Well, you're going to be a judge.
What?
Being part of one of the deals, you're going to be a judge. Yeah, you're a man I know that likes meat, and I'm going to give everybody a hot tip on rib cook-off.
Okay, talk to
When
me.
you go to a rib cook-off,
Yeah.
and you get 6 ribs, you might think that's all I get. You'll be full at 6, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what you do is you have your spouse or a friend, your buddy,
Mm-hmm.
you turn around and you eat half the rib and let them have the half, and then you get 12 ribs. You get to taste 12
Oh,
ribs.
come on now.
Yeah. That's
There's
what you
20 vendors, right?
Yeah.
So if I get my
25.
kids involved, I should be able to eat. Yeah, okay. All right. I'm doing the math, man. I want to try all 20.
Yeah.
So now, are all the contestants close? Are they from all over?
Mostly local, but
Mostly-
they come from kind of, I think they're all California based though.
Okay, I got you. Okay, cool. Now, what's the date again? Tell me one more time.
August 24th on Saturday.
August 24th on Saturday. All right, hey, Joanne, would you make sure and put that on my calendar? All right, put that on my calendar. Block.
And what's the address? You said that was at Regional Park?
Yes, Regional Park. The address is 3770 Richardson Drive.
In Auburn. Okay, thank
Auburn.
you.
All right, for you listening, you can't see it on our screen, so we're gonna repeat that so you can hear it. And this sounds like a fun event. Sounds like a real fun event, and it's going for a really good cause too.
It is, and I will tell you, the first time like I said, I showed up there, I'd done rib cook-offs for our neighborhood and this and that. And, you know, I said, well, how many ribs? 72 racks. That scared the daylights out of me. I go, well, how many people come? I'm thinking 500, 600, 700 people. There was over 2,500 people at the first one that I went to.
cow.
Oh yeah. You talk about scared. And I will tell you, what's wonderful about ours is that the safety that is put into it. The Placer County, they come out and they do inspections and they make sure that all of our tents are in compliance with the food regulations that a restaurant has to do. I mean, you have to have water, you have to have hot water. It's a pretty serious thing. We take serious. Our name's on it, and these other charities. So it's a great family fun event that every time you go to it, every year I see more and more people that I know, and it's this will help us spread the word. And so we really want to thank Sac Life TV for giving us this opportunity to not only talk about Crime Victims United, but an event like this that's going to help many in the community.
Amen. So and you guys look. We get in here and we start talking about issues, and for me personally, I like to go dig and go, well, why is there a need for Crime Victims United? And then we go down these rabbit trails and uncover, why do we need such an organization? And that brings some awareness to you. And hopefully as voters and people in the community, you'll understand that, you'll know it, and hopefully you'll not only understand it and understand why it's needed, but then you'll start supporting it until politically we can get straight and start voting in a way that actually protects people, right? So these are some great things we can do. We can go to a cook-off, we can participate, we can be sponsors. And so this is I enjoy these kind of events.
And
Joanne,
shout
what
out-
you got?
No, I just want to say shout out to Mosley Collins for being one of our major sponsors.
Mosley, who?
Mosley Collins.
All right, Mosley Collins, we love you as always, and thank you so much for being a part of what we do. And we also want to thank Sac Life TV. Make sure and go check us out. They have an app, download it. It's really simple. And you can catch all of our podcasts along with all the other programming that I would highly suggest that you do. So we thank you. Hey, Tope,
Hey,
appreciate you, bro.
If I could put a plug in for Mosley. When he found out about this,
Yeah.
he turned around and said, I want to be the title sponsor of this. And he has, and he does. That is a wonderful human being. I became friends with him through Crime Victims United. Wonderful man, does so much for the community. So other than being a great attorney, God bless him. He's a wonderful human being.
That's awesome. Hey, Mike, thanks for taking time to be here and explaining this to us in depth. And I will leave you with this. Do you know why men love women so much? Because they love ribs. You'll get that if you read Genesis. All right. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Powerhouse Podcast. If today's conversation resonated with you, remember to subscribe, rate, and review us on your preferred podcast platform. Your feedback helps us in our mission to engage in deep conversations that impact mindsets and create a practice of introspection. Do you have an idea or a topic for a show? Message us at php@saclife.tv. Remember, your voice matters, and together we have the power to influence positive change in our world.